the four of you are going to lose yourself to days sleep to the sound of Rodrigo fastening and making sure no light can get in. It's not 100% necessary in the situation that you're in at the moment due to the fact that you're also in the barn. But he does it just the same. He's also showing the other ghouls how to handle things just in case he's not around to do it for some reason. For Desmond, Andres, and Aishi, you might think this is not going to go well. You're not going to sleep easily here with the odd positions that you have to get yourself in. But as soon as the sun rises and the songbirds start whistling off in the distance, you feel that fatigue. Your limbs become heavy. It's hard to keep your eyes open. And then the next thing you know, your eyes shoot open. The blood rushes into your limbs. Your heart gives one solid, dull thud. And could I please get a rouse check? Okay, so Andres is going to wake up with a hunger of 4.
I'm starving.
That's fun. So, you all went to sleep in the carriage. And when the sun goes down and your eyes open and you feel it taking over, the fact that existence is a thing again, you wake up hungry. You can hear Rodrigo and the new ghouls that you acquired discussing something outside of the barn. You can hear the crackle of a fire. And your other companions are not even stirring yet when you wake up. So you wake up hungry. What do you do?
Is there anyone else around currently?
Just the ghouls. You're all outside of the Inn of the Lion.
Okay. Just the ghouls.
Just the ghouls. Just Rodrigo and the 4 ghouls that you all picked up.
Gotcha. Well, I'll call my ghoul over.
You call one over, and Bartholomew will hesitantly walk into the barn. Yes? How can I help?
It seems that I have awakened in quite the hungry state. Would you allow me to satiate myself?
You want to eat me? He looks terrified. Yes.
I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to take a drink to ward off this peckishness.
He starts.
Is that a problem?
Yeah, without even a word, he starts to unravel. He starts to roll up his sleeve, and shaking hands like brings his wrist to you.
I grab his wrist firmly.
He gasps.
And I tell him, you do not need to be afraid. This will only take but a moment. Try thinking of something that makes you feel good, like flowers or whatever else you want to think about. And then I go in for the drink.
Okay. How much are you taking from Bartholomew?
I'll slake 2.
You'll slake 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this how you plan on feeding?
Well, at current, it is the most convenient.
Yes, I completely agree on that one. Do
Um,
you want to go hunting at all?
do I want to go hunting at all?
Yes.
Hmm. I would say after slaking 2, being at 2, I'm probably still a little hungry. So I would probably go hunting.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a
I don't
town
like
nearby.
I don't like feeling hungry.
You
There's a
s-
town nearby?
There is a town nearby.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go and after I feed off of him and let him go, and I let out an exasperated sigh. It's not enough.
Which automatically scares the hell out of Bartholomew even more.
Calm yourself. You are valuable. I will not completely feed off of you. But I will be going out. So I suppose I'll try to return before the rest of them decide to wake up if I can. If not, then I guess I shall see them back here. Let them know, would you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I will return.
So is Andrus heading into town?
Yeah, you'll head into town to kind of see what the selection is like.
Okay. What do you think Andrus would be looking for?
I think he'd be looking for something that seems like would have good flavor to it. You know, he is from a more um, what's the word? He comes from a more lavish background, even though he did start traveling. So
Yeah.
he appreciates the finer things. So he'll probably try to find something or someone that seems like would be because he's not familiar with the nuances of the blood just yet. So he's going to try to find someone he thinks would look like they would taste good or be more
Okay.
nourishing, make him feel better.
Do you have out of character? Do you have an idea for what predator type you'd like to put on Andrus?
Um, I was thinking probably extortionist.
Oh, okay. Extortionist.
Yeah, try to kind of get what he wants while putting, just using his kind of his stature, because he's used to having that stature and that prowess and that pull. Just tell him, try to get his fix that way. Just like, hey, give me this, and I won't, do something bad to you.
Okay. Desmond does not get hungrier.
Uh-oh.
She does get hungrier. Putting her at hunger of 5. So you know right now that you have to feed. You can feel that obnoxious Gabrin's voice in the back of your head telling you, urging you on to find and drain someone. You can hear Rodrigo outside of the carriage. You can hear the other ghouls. Those would be perfect. But you can do what you think is best. But either way, you need to feed.
Aisha sits up, probably leaning on Desmond unintentionally. She just doesn't notice. And I think she just flicks open the curtain of the carriage window and is just staring intently at all
you,
the ghouls with a
you are
crazed look at her eyes.
when you flip the curtain open, you're just met with solid wood
Oh,
because the carriage has shutters to keep the sun out.
in that case, she will open the door and stare at them.
Okay. Desmond, you wake up, you are probably a little confused that regardless of where you sleep, it does not matter. You're going to wake up and you're going to feel uncomfortable as you always do, but not as uncomfortable as sleeping in this position probably would have led you. You see By the time everybody starts rousing, you'll notice that Andrus has already taken his leave, stepping out of the carriage, and Aishi is about to do the same. What's going through Desmond's mind at the moment?
Desmond's probably just watching Aisha, like looking at Aisha, and he'll pull himself up into one of the seats and probably just like, can I use sense the beast in this moment? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
kind of because it is technically a passive thing.
Yes. No, you can definitely feel the hunger and the hostility. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say 2 successes. You definitely know where it's coming from. It might even be the thing that roused you. Is the danger that comes with the hostility of having another kindred who's near frenzy, who needs to feed. As for Davine, you've seen that look on Kindred's face before. You know exactly what's happening.
Desmond's trying to like snap her attention away from the door back to him for a minute.
What? And she keeps looking outside, but she just says, what?
He's gonna, well, all of his weight rocking the carriage. He's gonna pull the door back shut.
What are you doing?
Making sure you're you.
Well, I don't feel like me right now, and I would like to change that, please. Unless you're offering.
Not them.
Then who? She starts just looking at your neck.
Come on, it'll be okay. This is the first real step out.
The last time you looked like that, I made an example of some poor soul in a cell. Keep that in mind. And he's going to open the door and step out.
I'll follow him. Just keep a distance from the mortals.
Yeah, when you step out of the barn, the horses that are in stalls not far from you are visibly uncomfortable when Aishi comes into view. She is definitely a predator, and they feel trapped. The door to the barn is open, and you can see the flickering of a small fire that's been set just outside the doors. This is what Aishi was watching. Rodrigo has set up a small area where he and the other ghouls are discussing the ins and outs of kindred of living with kindred society.
Go up to Rodrigo as quickly as possible.
He stands at attention the moment he realizes you're there.
We need to get her to feed as quickly as possible.
He looks over your shoulder at them, and what would you suggest?
I don't know this town very well. And I don't think they'll be comfortable dining there. And she just kind of like nod over to the Lion's Inn. Is there another bar, perhaps? Something of that nature? Tavern, pub.
This is the largest inn near town, but perhaps he keeps glancing from Davine back over his shoulder towards the others. Perhaps it's time for them to learn to break their fangs.
As he looks back over towards the rest of us, Aisha is walking off into the woods towards the town.
So, seeing that Desmond is going to move in her direction, Aisha.
Yeah.
He's gonna gently place a hand on her shoulder, as like to plead with her to stop for just a moment.
You told me not to feed on them, so I'm going to try and find someone.
And I was going to suggest the sun just set, which means hunters will be either coming in with their trophies for the night, dragging them back any moment now, and preparing to sell them at tomorrow's market, or they've sold everything today and they're heading back out to get something tonight and in the morning. Which means the fringes of town will have very light traffic. Catch a lone hunter coming in or out. Get what you need without making a mess or a fuss, scaring people.
Thank you for your advice. Can I go now?
Yep.
Great. And she starts walking away quite quickly. Just scanning. And like as you're talking to her, she's like tapping and just looking around, not really looking at you, but you can tell that she is listening.
I think Aisha's a little bit too far gone for advice at the moment. So,
Yeah, he was kind of offering to like help her track something down, but given the particular just like separation from herself between like the separation between rational thought caused by the hunger, he just said yep and just let her go.
so where is Aisha headed? Just towards the town?
Yeah, her plan is to stick to the outskirts. Because is it surrounded by woods? Is that correct?
Yes, you are in. You're in a pretty dense forest.
Yeah, she's going to stick to the tree line and just try to have a look and see if she can just pick someone off. That's walking to a secluded area.
Okay. Is there a specific type of person you're trying to find?
Someone with money.
Someone.
Or
with
someone
money?
that looks arrogant.
I have an idea for Aisha, but I really don't want to put anything on you when it comes to how you're going to hunt. Do you have an idea for what kind of predator type you might be going for?
I'm going to go for pursuer.
So, Andros, he's a traveler, correct? You move from place to place and you try to sell your wares.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and say that Andros has been to this town before. So, you know a few people in the area. And maybe tonight's a good time to possibly settle a score or collect a debt. Or perhaps
Perfect.
put new details in a debt, maybe. So, what kind
Perfect.
of people would Andros typically have these kind of deals with?
Probably purveyors of the goods he sells or bankers of sorts, maybe even the church, since they have a large majority of the currency, the money that gets circulated,
Okay.
you know? So maybe he had some business dealings with some the local church to acquire some holy relics that they would want, sell, things of that nature.
Okay. Let's go ahead and say that there is a parishioner at this local church who's basically attempting to buy his way into heaven. He has this mentality of the more relics he has, the more likely it is he's going to have a good afterlife.
Hmm.
He's not necessarily a good person, but he thinks that for every cross he has, for every reliquary he's gotten his hands on, it makes up for some sin that he's not actually sorry he's committed.
Awesome. I'm going to pay him a visit. If I remember correctly, he rents a room at the local church.
He does, actually. Right next door to the church itself is a small convent. And then the very next door after that is housing. That's fairly fine, fairly well put together, that the church does not use any longer for its own people, so they rent it out.
Perfect.
So
I'll head there. Mosey on over.
So you knock on his door, or are you just trying to get in?
Well, I would probably go into the church itself to see if he might be there, because as far as I'm aware, the churches are open.
Churches stay open. Yes, they're open at night.
So I'll probably go there and see who's about.
Okay.
And then
There's going to be a few people who are in the church, a sparse few, but you don't see him in there. He's not a devout type. He's more just a collector of fine goods in his own way. Would you be taking your specialty in intimidation or larceny?
Probably intimidation.
Intimidation? Okay. So you get to add coercion to your character sheet under intimidation.
Nice. All right. Well, if I remember correctly, the doorway to those rooms would be over this way.
Okay, you know exactly where he is.
I mosey on over, touching any, perhaps they have a crucifix or a cross effigy on the front altar that I walk by and just kind of lay my hand on briefly, as kind of like a passing respects.
Yeah, there's an internal, oh God, this doesn't hurt. Like, thank goodness.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I'm like, oh, okay, thank goodness. And then I walk over to the doorway to the rooms or the living spaces.
Okay. How would you knock? Would this be an aggressive situation, or?
Oh no, I'll politely knock. I'll just walk up to the door and just give a nice, good, audible knock. Loud enough that if anybody was sleeping, it'd probably wake them up, but not so loud that it seems like I'm the cops.
Yeah. Well, it's not that late, and the police wouldn't come here anyway, but...
True enough.
Yeah, you hear him moving around a little bit in the room, and when you knock, you just hear, "One moment!" And then...
I'll give him a little bit.
There's a little bit of shuffling around. A curious... loud thump, and then the door opens up, and Andres, what are you doing here? And he sticks his head out and looks both ways down the hall.
Indeed. But would you be so kind as to invite me in?
Again, he looks both ways down the hall and opens the door the rest of the way and gestures for you to enter.
Excellent. Now, my friend, I've come to, collect on a little bit of a debt that you might owe me.
Do I?
Yes, you remember that parcel that I had given you a long while ago that contained bottles of holy water?
Oh, I thought I had already paid for that for you. Did we not come to agreements on this?
You paid in advance on such an expensive item that I had graciously given to you. Before you paid in full, my friend. And so I'm here to collect the rest.
I did not know you were coming.
Oh, my apologies. I did not realize you were quite the busy individual, trying to buy your way into heaven.
He looks a little taken aback, the fact that you would actually say that to him, but doesn't really
Tell me,
argue.
have you struck a deal with the Lord Jesus Christ yet? Has he opened the line of credit for you? Listen, I'm going to make this simple for you. You don't need to give me any money, but you are going to give me something.
Wha-
You're not going to really remember what it is.
He just looks confused when you say that to him.
I put my hand on his shoulder, kind of like firmly, and kind of shake him a little bit. He's like, I can see this is hard for you to grasp your mind around, but I need you to just remember that when this is all over, you will be saved and forever in peace.
Instant terror on his face when you say that.
Oh,
Because
calm
that
yourself.
sounded like a threat.
Calm yourself. It isn't going to be that serious. It isn't going to be that serious. But you will give me what I want, yes? And then I'll give him that very stern, like, intimidation as my grip tightens a little bit.
He winces at the pressure and nods in agreement.
Good. In which case, I will ask him to close his eyes.
He does so.
All right, and I'm going to grab his wrist. And I say, you're going to feel a little bit of a pinch. And then I'm going to take.
I think he might try to fight back a little bit. Could I get a strength plus brawl? Oh, yes. You definitely overpower him. You bite in. He goes to scream, but is lost in the kiss before his voice gets to find its way out. How much do you take from him?
I'll take 2.
You'll take
Or
2?
sorry, I'll take 1 because I can't go below 1 anyway, and I'm already at 2. So
Yeah.
I'll just take the 1.
You bite in and you feed, and it helps a little bit, obviously, but it also it just will not be satisfied.
It's not enough. Well, I don't want to leave any dead parishioners here randomly, so I guess I'll just suck it up for now. And then before I leave, whether he's come to or not, I'll say, do not mention my visit here to anyone, or there will be problems.
He's almost in a daze when you're done feeding from him. I will say that you will notice from the slight struggle, it knocked, like he kicked a box that was slightly sticking out of his, like from underneath the little cot that's in the room, and there are quite a bit of relics and saved up coin, money, possibly stolen from donations in this place. And also a small leather book. And what I am doing here is I am offering you your 3 points that you get to spend for free between contacts and the resources background. You can take the items, which will be worth money, which will up your resources. Or you can take the book, which will give you a few points in contacts, because this is his list of people that he goes through to get things.
That list is more valuable to me than the momentary increase in wealth, so I'll take that book.
Okay. As I said, you have three.
I'll take all of it.
You have three
If I
free.
can take all-
You have 3 free points to put into contacts or resources, and resources. Split them up however you'd like, and also gain a 2-point enemy on your sheet because this guy will be coming for you later.
Bring it on.
Nice.
All right. You also have a choice. You got into a little bit of a physical confrontation with this gentleman when you were feeding from him. And you also kind of dominated him a little bit. Would you be taking the free point in dominate or potence?
I already have 1 in dominate.
You can up it to
All
2 if you want, or you can take the potence.
I will. I'll take it. I'll take it from to dominate.
Okay. Feel free to up that as you'd like. It is active for you.
Awesome.
All right. After you're done feeding and pillaging this man's belongings, what do you plan on doing? Is this a head back to the inn?
Yeah. After that, I find myself like I'm not quite satiated completely, but I am enough that I feel like I can go back and.
You're on the outskirts of town. And you're looking for someone who seems to be well off and arrogant. And I don't think it's going to take you too long to find that person. Because the further you go away out of town, so I guess I should say the deeper you go into town, you're going to come to the people who are not the well off, who are just trying to get by in this town. They live in small hovels, not really what you would call a complete structure. And there's only one person who just sticks out like a sore thumb. He's wearing fine clothes. He's got a bag. There is a person who is following behind them, who is not as well off, but clean. But they look uncomfortable with how clean they are. The person who is clearly in charge in this relationship he seems to be going from house to house and knocking. And the people who are there are not the happiest to see him, but they seem to be paying some type of respect to him. Could I please ask you to give me a wits? And yeah, it's going to be our typical. It's going to be our wits and awareness. Or actually a wits plus insight, and you can definitely use your motive specialty on that. Okay, cool. We got a messy critical. So, with your messy critical that you got, because you got 2 10s in your hunger, that gives you 6 successes. You know exactly what this guy is doing. He's a tax collector. He is going to these people who do not have money and claiming it for himself. Claiming whatever little bits they have, threatening, taking what he wants. This is a great target. And your beast is going to urge you that he does not deserve the blood that's in his veins more than you do. And I'm going to go ahead and say that the harm compulsion overtakes you. So not only do you want to feed from him, take what he doesn't want to give, but you also want to cause harm in the same process. So what do you do?
I think she just follows him from the shadows. Hopefully not for too long. But until she feels like she can just get that one moment where she can just pounce.
Okay, so you're tailing him?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to allow you to add your free specialty right now to your character sheet. You can either have investigation for profiling, which you have, identifying him as a tax collector, or your stealth for shadowing.
I'm going to go with stealth.
Okay. So you're tailing him and trying not to be noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a composure plus stealth?
Yeah.
With your shadowing.
That's just 5 hunger die.
You got 2 successes. You're in a rather cramped, busy part of town, and he has a mission. So I think 2 successes is probably going to succeed in tracking this guy down. Are you waiting for like an exact moment to jump him, or what are you thinking?
I think her plan and the way she wants to harm him after draining him is that bag of gold or belongings that he's taken. She just wants to just pummel him with it.
Okay.
So if he goes by like an alley or something, then that will be her moment, I think.
There's a dark spot of town just before it starts getting into a better area. Just before you leave effectively the ghetto where you are. And you can smell the blood in this place. You can smell everything that's going on. The melancholic depression that just fills the air of this horrible little hovel-filled encampment inside this town. But like as you're tracking him down, you can smell this you can smell his arrogance. You can smell his need to be a bully, which is effectively your bloodhound merit that you are earning from this predator type taking hold. So, with that, how do you want to get him?
I think if she can, she wants to just sneak up behind him and just, pounce on him.
Okay. Do we want to try a new mechanic that I just learned about that could be fun?
Sure.
You want to cause him harm.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that this is going to be a brutal attack?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. So any player can do a brutal attack. This is something that I just learned about. I'm excited about it. You can choose to what's called pin one of your hunger dice as a 10. Okay? This will make the chances of getting a messy critical increase dramatically. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to have Let's see. I'm going to have Aishi roll. I'm thinking it might be better, since you're stalking and you're waiting for the proper opportune moment to leap onto this person. Why don't we do composure plus athletics instead of the typical strength plus brawl? And only roll 3 dice instead of 4. And one of those dice is, and the missing dice is just automatically going to be a 10. Okay. A 9.
So close.
So you got 2 successes. And you are taking this guy by surprise. And he is not a fighter. He's a swarmy person who survives off of nothing but his status. There's going to be a thump as he hits the ground. Just a dull thud. And a small box of coins that his little steward that was following him around is going to drop as he goes screaming down the streets. What are you going to do to him?
Oh. So her target is unconscious, is that right?
You have him. You're on him.
Oh, I see.
He's conscious. What are you going to do to him? With your beast, like, basically cheering you on to do the most horrific things possible to do to him.
She's gonna get the box that was dropped.
Okay.
And she's just gonna start hitting his head. Just with the corner of it, just pounding this box on his head, on his skull. Just messing up his face.
Okay.
And then she's gonna have a drink.
Okay.
Or like straddling him.
While you hit him with that box, which he's on the ground, he's terrified, he doesn't know what's going on. You're coming like a demon out of the darkness. That's going to happen regardless. Could I get you to please roll your current willpower plus 1/3 of your humanity? So you are going to stay conscious on this. Your beast is screaming in your head. Your temples are pounding. It's just awash in bestial energy, but you do keep complete control. And you take a drink. How much of a drink?
Probably all of it. Yeah, she'll take everything.
Okay. You drain him dry. And that is the loss. We're not going to do stains for this right now. This is the loss of the humanity that you get for this this predator type.
Okay.
So with that, you have access to either heighten your animalism or your auspex. What would you prefer?
I'm gonna go for auspex. And get
Auspex?
heightened senses.
Okay. As you're drinking him dry, and you can feel his pulse as it's incredibly fast and slows down to nothing. You can smell it, you can feel it, you can hear it. And you now have active heightened senses for this character. So, did Desmond follow the entire time?
I think that the camera will pan up from Aisha,
Uh-huh.
looking across in the opposite alleyway, and just see see like the upper half of a silhouette of Desmond quietly fade into the alley.
You just
And
watched
from
Aisha completely just destroy this obvious tax collector who was taking advantage of people. How does Desmond feel about what he just witnessed?
I don't know how he feels, and I don't think he necessarily knows how he feels. But when you asked me that question, or even when you were describing the scene, the first words that came to my mind, like in Desmond's mind, were "I will remember this."
Well, you've seen Aisha feed a couple of times, and she seems to be a very brutal predator.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last thing that Desmond sees before he slinks away is she's like struggling to drag his body, like, and like prop it up, like the torso up a bit, and she like puts one of his hands on his chest and then the other one out. You know how like a statue of like Jesus would do, and he's like offering something, and then she just places the box with like the coins and stuff next to it, and then she just leaves.
So that is quite obvious to Desmond that she was in her right mind while she was
Mm-hmm.
doing that then. And
I think in perhaps more archaic and simple terms, Desmond is thinking to himself, "I'm going to make a note. We'll cross. We will revisit this later."
so Desmond's at a hunger of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And as whatever is going through Desmond's mind when he sees Aisha do this, there is still this feeling of this urging in the back of your mind as you can hear Mistress Violetta's voice almost complimenting Aisha on what she's doing and how you should be doing the same. You can feel the beast coiling in your stomach, and you know that it needs to be fed too.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is Desmond doing?
Desmond is walking away quietly, avoiding sight, frustrated. Um, Actually, I think bordering on just being furious that Aisha has proven that they are exactly the demons he feared that they had been turned into. Because when he first met her, she was this very sweet, soft-spoken kind of. At least his perception of her was this sweet, soft-spoken, gentle person, and she has proven now 3 times that she is not that. Um, and then Violetta's voice ekes into the back of his head, and he is kind of walking silently, but like grumbling under his breath to himself, arguing with the voice of Violetta, and unknowingly finds himself standing outside the back part of the Lion's Inn.
Devine would follow.
Okay, so you've made your way back to the inn.
No, not back to Devine, not back to Rodrigo or Marcus or any of them. No, I think he's standing in the like behind the property, like in a dark kind of secluded spot,
Mm.
uh, looking up at the second story, watching to see if there is any movement or silhouettes in the windows. Watching to see if anyone leaves the inn.
The second story. This place was once a fine house that has been turned into an inn. Maybe this is basically the home of a lord that once took care of this area, but now things have changed. Now it's more of a an independent commune that pays homage to nearby royalty, but not actually governed by anyone other than themselves, which is actually quite common back then in this location, especially during the Crusades. The upstairs, you don't really see much happening at all. You do see some flickering light from downstairs. You don't see anybody leaving either.
Okay. I think that he probably spends a bit more time here than he means to. Like, his mind just kind of racing. Fury, frustration. Desperately wants, revenge against Violetta. But then he thinks about the time and how his window of opportunity is closing to actually take care of his hunger before he ends up like Aisha. And he is going to take his own advice and stalk out into the fringes of the woodlands to find either in his mind, in Desmond's mind, I think he's looking for hunters. Maybe even, I think in his mind he's looking for like local hunters, maybe, or like any wandering vagabonds that are maybe like coming in late. But I think also what would be fitting is perhaps like a nomadic caravan, even.
Okay.
Anything like that would, I think, would suffice.
What predator type are you thinking about?
So I'm gonna be real with you. Looking at all of the ones that are available, none of them feel like Desmond.
Okay.
The closest one would be Roadside Killer.
That's what I was looking at, actually.
However, I was actually working on something, I'm typing it up now to send to you, called a predator type. And would you be cool with me creating one?
I think for this story, I'd be okay with that. Is everybody else okay with the idea of a custom predator type for Desmond?
I am totally okay with that.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
All right. The name of this predator type is Local Legend.
Local Legend. Okay.
You stalk the countryside, urban sprawls, or forgotten underground passageways, looking for those who linger in undesirable places. Your victims are usually beggars, vagabonds, or nomadic folk. And that's pretty much the fluff that I've gotten for it so far, but I think that is more his style.
Okay, so it sounds like you're trying to become a cryptid.
Yeah.
Okay. What specialties do you think you'd pick up from this?
Either survival tracking or stealth stalking.
Nice. Okay. Very cool.
And the disciplines would either be Protean or Obfuscate.
Okay. Do you think that this would have any effect on Desmond's humanity, hunting like this?
I think that I'm going to say it probably should.
Okay.
given what comes to mind when you think about the medieval like horror movies, you know, where you've got the camp of nomads or the camp of soldiers sitting around a bonfire and something horrible just starts yanking them off into the darkness,
Hmm.
scattering them into the woods, into the night. So I think, yes, I think that is fitting. I also think it should come with a 1 point flaw for local infamy.
Okay.
that
Interesting.
comes with the rumors of, oh, don't go down to
I feel like I feel
Willows.
like it might come with a hunted. You know, like the idea that like something's out there looking for this creature.
That's an interesting thought.
You know, that's definitely
Yeah,
something we can talk about.
yeah. Sorry to get like
No. I think this is an important part of things. Can I get a what specialty would you want from that? Would you like the survival or would you like the stealth?
I think while in time Desmond will learn more stealthy behaviors. I think right now he's leaning on his survival skills.
Okay. Well,
He is very well trained in survival.
why don't you go ahead and give me a wits plus survival? You can go ahead and use that specialty and add it onto your character sheet, and we'll see
Okay.
what that comes up with.
With survival,
Yes,
2 successes.
2 successes.
And those are both on hunger die. I did my hunger die first.
Oh, okay. All right, 2 successes. You are standing behind the Lion Inn and realizing that you need to do something about food when you hear a snap of a twig, which just bolts you into action. It doesn't take long for you to find out that the noise, which is being created by 3 men who are heading back to town through the woods, one of them walking in front of the others with a knife, cutting any branches or whatever that's in his way. The other 2 slightly smaller men have a carcass of a deer tied to a branch in between them, and they're making their way back towards town with their hunt for the day. What is Desmond's plan of action here?
I apologize. You said there are 2 of them, correct?
3.
3.
There's 3 men and a dead deer.
Okay. Are there weapons currently? Like they're not at arms right now. Obviously, 2 of them.
No. You see the one who has a knife in his hand. He's using it to cut down branches and stuff that get in their way when they're walking. But
Okay.
the bows that they were using for hunting are not at the ready or anything. In fact, one of them is carrying the first guy who has the knife. Is carrying his bow and his own bow.
Okay.
So, and they've got a deer balanced between them.
Desmond is going to move into the silently into the thicket that like in their general like kind of cutting them off from town so that if he can kind of get in front of them, and wants to basically put himself right in front of the guy with the knife as they're coming up out of the woods.
Can I get a composure plus stealth?
Yeah, I mean you can.
Oh, that's not a good roll for you. Well, let's see. I mean,
if that's the roll, that's the roll. You know, we ride.
yeah. Let's do composure plus self and see what happens. Do you want to blood surge or anything first?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 2 successes.
2 successes. I'm gonna go ahead and roll for them.
Sure.
Because they work out here. Let's go ahead and see. Maybe they're being too loud. Dumb. 3 successes. When you go to sneak in front of them, you step on
I do have
something.
Silence of Death active.
Oh, you do? Well, never
Mhm.
mind. You are absolutely fine. They don't notice you at all. So how close are you going to let them get to you?
Face to face with the first guy.
Face to face with the first eye? Okay.
Hmm.
So he's about to walk right into you.
I grab him and pull him into the bushes.
Okay, just a sudden surprise.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not going to make you roll for the surprise attack. There are rules for doing that kind of thing. But considering the fact that he's human, you had Silence of Death, and you're sneaking right up on him, basically, you are going to you're just going to grab him and feed on him?
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be strength plus brawl, and your difficulty is 1.
Okay, I'll take. Can I take half, or do you want me to roll it?
You can
I'll
take
roll it
half
for-
if you want to.
Nah, I'll roll it for the hunger die.
That's true. See what happens.
All right. 4 successes. Sorry.
Okay. You have him. What are you doing with him?
Just biting down, feeding.
Biting down. You hear a loud thud as the deer's body hits the ground, and then there is screaming and running from the other 2 men,
Yeah.
and your local legend has now been started.
Sweet.
How much are you taking from him?
Ooh, that's a good question. I didn't get this far. I need to make a frenzy test. I'm at 4 hunger.
Oh, yes, now that you've got blood in your mouth.
Maybe all of it.
Join
Let's
me,
see.
Desmond. Join me.
Join. So it's my unspent willpower, which we refresh, plus 1/3 my humanity.
Yes, and what we'll do is we were talking about how this predator type might make you lose humanity. What if this is the deciding roll?
I think that would be really cool, actually.
We'll
I
have
kinda-
this
like,
grow
I kinda want
organically.
it-
So it is up to Desmond 100% how vicious this local legend is going to be.
That's true. I think, like any good local legend, it needs to build. So I think he's just going to take 3,
Okay.
which is a little more than he probably should, but that feels like Desmond to me.
I'd say maybe Desmond stops
He's
feeding
angry.
once he starts feeling the pulse start to slow.
Yeah, so I think he's going to take 3,
Okay.
lick the wound, and then drag the guy off to, like, an old, like, I don't know, he's just going to drag the guy off, just off the path, for someone to find him in the morning.
Okay. So you're dragging him closer to the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, of course, be sure to lick the wound so that there's no sign of what happened to him.
All right. So, Devine, you were speaking with Rodrigo. And as Rodrigo was saying, maybe it's time for them to break their teeth, they went walking off out into the woods towards town. What does Devine do when she has now lost effectively all 3 of her charges? Because I know your hunger's not bad at all right now.
No, her hunger's not bad. Let's see. What else does she have that she might be able to track someone down with? Okay. Not panic, it's only your first mission, and you have 3 hungry vampires that are just out wandering the city, probably good to let everyone know where they are. Yeah, she would use her stealth or survival, whatever tactic she has, and try to follow them if she can find them.
Let's just say you can't.
Okay, all right.
Due to the fact that
Rodrigo, okay. I can do this.
due to the fact that I don't want their scenes being interrupted. Those were amazing.
Okay. All right. Okay, maybe a blacksmith. Maybe he went to another blacksmith. That sounds legit, right? You are what you eat. Uh, okay. Where's the blacksmith?
Rodrigo is just looking at you. Are you okay?
They're all three gone.
They're gonna be back.
How horrible of a watcher am I if they all three disappear at the same time?
How
We're worse than
horrible of
toddlers.
how horrible of an example would you be if you fed them every night?
Thank you for being so kind. Not
They
making me feel like I've lost everything.
they need to learn and they'll return. They all have revenge on their mind.
And that's the hard part. If they get that revenge and they get that taste in their mouth, and then the beast takes over completely, and then they go on a hunting spree.
They only have one each and they're all in there. And he points to the inn. I don't think that this is going to be as bad as you think it might be.
I worry.
I can
We're
tell.
all so young. I was at least pampered, and in the beginning, but I made a promise. I'd keep him safe. I'm thankful that I have you safe too, so. Are the ghouls okay?
They're coming to an understanding. They're getting used to the idea of what's going on, but the blood will do the majority of the work.
All right. So I can just be a wonderful, normal person, not flipping out that everyone is eating the city. And
I
just...
seriously doubt they're going to eat the entire town.
I doubt that too, but... All right. Okay.
Have you fed? Do you need food?
I don't need anything just yet. I'm very content. Thank you for asking. I just hope they win their battles against their beasts.
Okay.
Hopefully have not given themselves fully to it.
I don't think that's going to be an issue on the first night out by themselves.
So, how long have you been Gould, Rodrigo?
Sometime. Several years at this point. But I was kept under tight lock and key. Working directly for Claudius until Hardestat found me.
I see. Do you have a preference?
Claudius was cruel and abusive, and working under Lothar was not palatable. At least Hardestat is giving me a chance to make up for the things that I've done.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to let you take the blunt of that either, so. Yeah. should at least have to see what this town has to offer, since it's somewhere new.
So,
I wonder.
do you want to go check out the town, or what's going on with you?
Yeah, she's gonna go. She's gonna go look over the town.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. She's part of her is wanting to watch, like, not so much the inn, but those that go to it, kind of thing. Because she's trying to get a feel for what can be trusted, if there's symbols anywhere, if there's, she's just looking to kind of pick this city apart in a way that she can find protection, whether it's, there's guards posts over here, there's watchers over here, she's just trying to really understand the viewpoints of the lookouts in this city.
Okay. Understood. Well, if you are heading into the actual town area itself, there's a very short walk down an unpaved, it's just basically a dirt road that leads directly into the town. There's not much of a wall to speak of. There's no gate or anything. What you really see when you walk into this place is more just a separation of class, where the more poor individuals are on the outskirts. They are the first line of defense, basically giving the rich enough time to run if need be, while the poor are attacked. It's pretty obvious how this place is set up.
Is the baker shop closing yet?
Pretty much everything is they're either in the process of closing or are already closed.
Run into the baker shop as quickly as possible.
Okay. What exactly are you doing?
Speed to bean. Excuse me. Do you have any bread that would be possibly getting ready to be tossed out that I could probably buy from you?
The baker, who has pretty much got everything packed up, cleaned as much as possible, for as much as he's going to.
Yes.
He just turns around and he looks at you, and before he gets completely turned around, he yells, like, in a loud aggressive voice. He's like, "You looking for handouts?" And then he turns around and sees you, and you are.
I was going to pay.
Yeah.
I was going to pay. I figured if you're getting rid of them anyway, I can give you the coin that would be worth for them. I'm sorry if I came in so late. I'm sure that you have had a hard day.
He gives you a look. We usually give these to the church for the poor.
I was about to do the same. Not so much the church, but personal handouts.
Do you want to give him a charisma plus persuasion?
I would. Well, she would just pull out coins. She's not going to rob him.
Well, if you're outright pulling out money,
yeah, she was going to pull out money.
how much do you think you're willing to give him?
Let's see.
You have a 1 in resources, and that's in this time period. That's gonna amount to quite a bit.
I set down a couple of gold coins, which is usually way more than what bread is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's willing to give you some. So,
like,
yeah.
yeah, separate the dress on one side so that way the cloth folds over, and use that to carry the bread,
Okay.
and go find the street urchins.
You're just going to start handing out bread to people?
Yeah, yeah. And like, if they're the first offense and the rich are more centered and they are on the edges, then yeah. The church is probably what, in the center of town, like they usually are.
Yeah, close to the center.
So yeah, she'd be looking for the areas that are damp and forgotten, and try to hold on to all the humanity she has.
Mm.
Because if there's killings going on tonight, she might as well try to make some use of it. So,
Yeah, while you're handing out the bread, and people are being very, very thankful for what you're giving them, there is going to be... There's a little bit of a... I really can't say that there's like an actual patrol or anything. It's almost like a Dark Age version of Neighborhood Watch more than anything.
yes. Okay.
But not long after you start handing out the bread, there is going to be a commotion where a bell is being rung and people are being called into one of the alleys that leads closer to town, into the main town square.
Well, hand out the bread and follow, I suppose.
Oh, there is quite a commotion. It doesn't take long for you to find out that a body has been found. A brutally attacked body.
Brush the crumbs off her dress. And go over and inspect what I can.
Okay. You find a body in an alley with lots of individuals around, soldiers around, trying to figure out what happened. The body has been posed, and from what everybody's saying, it's the local tax collector. Could I possibly get a... let's see... Let's get a wits plus occult.
All right, there we go.
2 successes.
Mm-hmm.
With 2 successes, I'm going to go ahead and say, with how long you've been around and what you've seen, this person has definitely been drained. Like the pallidness on the skin, this person has definitely been fed from and drained completely. There's whispers in the people who have gathered around that monsters are walking the streets and people should stay inside. It doesn't take long for a local body collector to come down with a wheelbarrow and just unceremoniously toss the man on.
At this point, is the box of gold still there?
Yes.
Damn it.
The box of gold is still
take
there.
it. Okay.
So yeah, okay, with the rumors of monsters and whatnot going on.
There's just a few people here and there that are saying that. Other people are like, well, the jackass had what's coming to him, you know.
It's just like,
Yeah, he's a tax collector. Who cares?
Exactly.
Fuck that guy. Wish it had happened. Bring him back so we can kill him again.
Like you hear the whole monster thing, but then you also hear, well, there is a god.
How bad is his neck or wherever he's bitten at looks?
How bad is the attack there, for Aisha?
She would have tried to cover up the bite, but yeah, his face has just been caved in. Basically.
Would you have licked the wound?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's more of a brutal attack with how bad the damage to the skull, and it looks like most of the damage actually came from him being hit by the box. But you can tell, like, there is not enough blood here for him to be that pallid.
I don't think it was monsters, but I can definitely say he must have made someone extremely violent. Definitely a job I wouldn't want. Should just kind of, like, look over the box, look over the guards and stuff like that, and walk her way out. Oh my god, I don't know which one it was.
Okay. So are you heading back to the inn?
Oh yes, like as quickly as her feet can carry her.
Awesome. So as for Desmond and Aishi, do you both also head back to the inn after you've gained your fill?
Yeah, I'll just head back to where the cart was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Desmond will make an effort, however, to do a little pass around the backside of the inn again, just observing.
Would she have gotten any information from anyone with bread? Like, because that's like, because I didn't get to play it out, but that's how she kind of like, she's like, is there anything I should be aware of here in town? Like just trying
gossip.
to. Yeah, the street urchin gossip, like keep my coins and my cleavage, but hand out as much bread as possible.
You would probably get someone talking about how Lord Giovanni is near the town, staying at the inn.
Mm-hmm.
Things that you already know, effectively.
Okay.
I will say that tomorrow night, if you tried this, there will be some interesting rumors.
She probably will.
Due to the fact that there has now been an attack in the woods and also in the streets.
Oh, lovely. This is going to be a great day tomorrow.
You're fine. But yeah, that's pretty much all the information that you'd probably receive about this area. Primarily that people are avoiding the inn at this point. And they technically have been for a while, maybe a year or so.
All right. Okay. So none of the children are getting stolen or anything like that, or getting forced into battles or anything like that?
No,
Nothing
I don't have any
crazy?
Fae plot lines right now.
All right.
Any what?
I don't have any Fae plot lines right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well then, I would say all four of you are starting to head back to the inn.
Right
So
now.
I think the first person who would probably return would be Aishi. Since you were the first one who fed. What do you do when you return to the inn, Aishi?
How much hunger does she have now?
You killed a person while feeding?
Uh-huh.
0.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah,
I mean, she was at 5, so I don't know if he had enough blood.
You silenced the voices in your head.
All right. Then she returns with a big old smile on her face and a skip in her step.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, like, if people are watching her, she does definitely trail on, like, drift off into thought occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, she seems to feel pretty good. But yeah, I think she just starts chatting to the ghouls, getting to know them a little bit, seeing what skills they have, that sort of thing, while she waits for everyone else to reconvene.
was gonna say, Davine's gonna keep her eyes open for for 2 more bodies.
Luckily, you don't hear anything about that. But actually, I would probably say, given the order of events, when Aishi arrives, Andrus is already there. What would Andrus be doing back at the inn when your companions are not there any longer? The ghouls are, but your companions are not.
I'd be sifting through the items that I got from the guy and then looking through the book just to see if he has any context that I might already know.
Okay.
Just cataloging and perusing my newfound gains.
All right. So yes, when Aishi gets home, or back to the inn, I should say, you find Andrus just digging through some stuff that he has.
And she just comes next to you and just like puts her like face on your shoulder and just like peers over at what you're reading. She can't read, but she's just looking.
Look, squiggles.
Pretty much.
Wow. How are you? Did you enjoy your outing? I noticed you were all gone when I got back.
Yes, pretty much so. My head is clear once again.
Ah, you went out to also have a bit of it, right?
Mm-hmm. She looks
Very good.
pretty proud of herself.
Very good. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. Did you find anything interesting?
Me? Oh, yes. I ran into an old friend who owed me a few things, so I collected. In more ways than one.
Ooh. I guess you could say I did the opposite. Let's just say the local tax collector will not be causing any more strife for people here.
The local tax collector?
Mm-hmm. He was walking door to door and asking for what little people had. Some didn't even have money, they just had a necklace or something, so I took care of it.
Yes, tax collecting is an unfortunate side effect of having to run kingdoms and countries.
Well, I was wondering why he was wandering the streets of the slums and not those nice houses over there.
Probably because he was greedy, or he just wanted to cause problems.
Maybe. His nose was quite high in the air.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose you brought it down so he could smell the earth.
Absolutely.
Very good.
At this time, Desmond can re-enter. When Desmond gets back to the inn, you said you walked around the back end.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get back around the front, you see Icy and Andrus sitting.
Seeing
talking.
Aisha and Andrus, as he probably hears them before he sees them, he's going to just using kind of really leaning into the comfort that he strangely feels in people not observing him. He's just gonna linger kind of in the off to the side of the barn and not really trying to enter unnoticed because of his particular frame. I imagine that's difficult to do. But also entering silently, not really unless you're just actively looking. I don't know that it would be easy to notice he's there at first.
Yeah.
I see. So you are in here, just not noticeable?
No, you can see him. Like, I don't think he's not trying to hide. I think he's just reflexively using Silence of Death, so he enters silently.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, Desmond, I did not hear you come in.
Andrus.
Were you out as well, getting yourself some sustenance?
Yep.
How did it go? Did you find what you were looking for?
Nope.
Well, that's a shame.
I got fed, if that's what you mean, but I didn't get the... Didn't find what I was looking for.
At least you did get fed. Won't have to worry about that thing inside of you coming out. At least for now. I hope it was a pleasant experience, at least. I know that you haven't been taken to all this very well.
I must admit, it is sickeningly... Like, you see him, like, struggling to find a word. Like he's... It sickens me how good that felt. It was like hunting, but no bow, no arch, no arrows, no quiver. I was enough.
You are the weapon now, huh? That is one way of looking at it. Isn't that a bit ironic? Someone who lived as one who forged weapons now is one in his own way. God has a sick sense of humor.
Why do you look so disappointed?
His very intense, fiery stare swings over to look Aisha in the eye. Because I don't want this. I don't want to be a weapon. I make weapons.
You can still make weapons. Look, I'm
It's not...
just trying to embrace what we've become so that I don't lose myself to complete woe. You should try it as well. I'm not saying you have to enjoy everything, but...
I don't know how to explain exactly what I mean. He's kind of like gestures to like his chest as if to say like he feels something, but he doesn't know how to like communicate how he feels. Just...
I think now is a good time for Devine to walk up on this group as well.
Are they inside the inn? Are they outside the inn?
I imagine we're like in the barn still.
In the barn?
Yeah, you get there and they're right back where they were.
Take a fake breath. Okay.
Devine is our sweet comic relief. That's what Devine is.
Nothing wrong with that.
She's the little sliver of light in all of the horror that the rest of us are.
Oh, just wait. Just don't get her to that point. It's not pretty. Okay, everyone's here. All right. All right. Is everyone all right? No one attracted any unwanted attention?
No. to both of those questions.
I'm sorry. Is there something I can do? Do you need to talk about it?
What good does talking do? No one listens.
That would be up to me to listen.
Aisha thinks I should embrace what's happened. Those were your words, right? I'm not. He's genuinely asking. Like, is that what you said?
Well, I guess just try to make the best of it, so you don't fall into a pit of despair. You don't have to love every minute of it.
Do
That's what I'm doing. No.
People cope in all sorts of different ways with different things in their lives. Life is not all peaks and valleys. There are slopes in between, Desmond.
I'm not saying. I'm not trying to be. I don't know how to put it. I'm not trying to be down about this. I'm just trying to address the ugly truths that you both seem to want to avoid.
What ugly truths? The fact that we are now creatures of the night that have to feed on living people that could or could not be innocent for sustenance, that we otherwise cannot control in any way, shape, or form, lest we let the beast come out and then we do something that we don't want to do that would cause us even more fracturing of our own moralities. Is that what you're referring to, Desmond?
You used the word beast again, which tells me that just like back at the castle, you still deny that part of you as yourself.
Desmond, I just killed someone.
Oh, I know.
Well, good.
Tax collector?
Enjoy every minute of it, right?
Sort of.
Every skull-shattering, eye-popping, blood-gurgling, skull-fractured
Okay.
moment.
Look, relax. I understand the judgment. Here's where I'm coming from. For the first time in my life, I have some semblance of control. Did I go overboard? Sure. And I recognize that. I know that I have a monster inside me, and I will do better. But in my mind, he deserved it, and for once, I could actually do something about it.
Killing is not the issue.
Right. Then what is?
The brutality of the killing. The willingness to kill. I've killed. I killed him when I was alive. I fought in battle.
And you fought for your life? You could
Yes,
say that I fought for the lives of others. I followed him for a while. I saw the looks on the faces of people he was
I saw
knocking on
them
their
too.
doors. Now that won't happen anymore. And perhaps whoever runs this town will think twice before they hire someone with such...
Or whoever runs this town will see it as an attack on his or their financial means of sustaining the roads and whatever other infrastructure is there. And as punishment, they'll bring down military on innocent people, ransack homes, take heads from shoulders, separate children from their mothers, draft men, fathers, away from their homes and send them into pointless scouting posts for the next 12 years as penance for what someone unwilling to claim the crime did in their hometown.
Well, we don't know.
Killing's
do
not
we?
the issue, it's the short-sightedness and the brutality of the killing. When I took a life on the battlefield, I didn't do so with pride. I didn't do so and skip away merrily happy about what I had done, proud of myself. I mourned their deaths, the necessity of it.
Let me know
Every
when he's
blade
finished morally grandstanding. And she just walks over to the horses and starts petting them.
All right. I'll leave it like this then. I'll leave it with this. The two of you keep using the word the beast, a monster inside you. No, you are the fucking monster. Stop blaming it on something inside you that you can't control just because you don't want to accept it. We're the monsters now. There's not something inside of us. It's just part of who we've become now.
Yes,
You
and
want
I
to
made
hold on?
that choice. I made that choice. If
Well,
you
good for
disagree,
you.
that's fine. And don't lecture me.
I see where
When
Desmond is
soldiers
coming.
pillage this town, it's all of those lives that you uproot, those will be on your head. And Desmond's going to turn and walk away.
He's saying that like it's actually going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen.
Well, as someone who has been brought up in a higher station that dealt with this kind of thing, taxpayers disappearing is a problem. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to send soldiers and military action to investigate such things.
No, they don't exactly have walls on the outside, so if
For all
anyone's
they
going to
know,
get
the
hurt,
taxpayer could have been robbed on the road, could have been killed. There's several things that could have happened to this taxpayer. Only if
Well-
it becomes too much of an issue with a specific area will they generally start to want to investigate it. But see, I see where Desmond is coming from, but I feel like he's applying sweeping generalities and assumptions about our own mentalities about what we think. He seems to be of the opinion that the beast is who he is, and it is something that we all must accept of ourselves, but that is easy for him to say considering he is wearing his beast in the exterior way.
I am very much mine. It doesn't go away. It stays with you forever. It's not. I'm very much mine.
Mm.
But I'll go look after him. She'd probably take off as quickly as she could.
Hmm.
So is everybody just like splitting up at this point?
I'm still in the
Probably.
room. I'm still in the
Desmond is just standing outside the barn, probably,
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 or 30 feet, staring at the inn, watching.
You know, it's still a life, Desmond. The one you have right now. And you still have opportunities to do great things with it. You just have to find out what things you want to do.
I'm not as sad as they seem to think that I am.
I think they're more worried about you than anything.
I'm
Well,
not sad.
while you guys are standing outside the barn, looking at the inn, the front door opens, and Lothar comes into view.
When he steps into view, just after he says, "I'm not sad. I'm furious."
And he motions for you to come over.
Desmond, held head high, strides across the front toward Lothar.
Veen would follow.
Lothar, with a smirk on his face, holds up a cylindrical leather wrap that has what looks like a shield with a skull and 2 scythes burned into the leather. He hands this to Desmond. This is the letter you are to take to the monastery of St. Timothy.
Desmond will grab it, take it from him.
And all he does is point down the road. He goes, "It's that way, about half a night's drive." And then turns and slams the door in your face.
Go on, puppy. For the slop gets cold. He's going to turn around and head back to the barn.
Is there anything happening in the barn between Andrus and Aisha as he walks back in?
I'm just reading the contact book. Just kind of perusing it very leisurely.
She's just keeping an eye out for pictures in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, you're back. Have you calmed yourself down?
Desmond just throws the scroll case to Andrus and then climbs in the carriage.
Goodness.
Well, this will be a fun ride.
Wonder if the beast wants him to just be rude all the time.
Nope,
Pickle.
that's a choice.
Ah, I see. So you do have some free thought. Wonderful. So, what is this? I open it up.
It is a piece of parchment that has a letter on it.
Let's see here. My brother Japheth, I find myself in unrest. The joy I have found in our existence has fled. I seek your counsel, you more than any. Know how I feel and perhaps what I must do. I beseech you to assist me in this spiritual dilemma. Name the time and place and I shall appear. Your brother in blood, C.G. For Claudius Giovanni. How sweet. Shall we get going?
I believe it was to the Church of St. Timothy. To the north.
Mm-hmm. How long a ride was this going to be?
Half a night.
Oh, enjoy. Wonderful.
Where would you choose to sit?
Me?
Yes.
I'll sit inside the carriage. That's fine.
I should
Want to go
probably
first?
sit up front with whoever's driving
That would be
to keep an
Rodrigo.
eye on things. Yeah. Just, I will join you, Mr. Rodrigo. If that's all right.
And the other ghouls?
Do we still have the horses?
We do.
Getting the sense that people are ready to go ahead and leave now, Desmond will step back out of the carriage and just wordlessly go over and start tacking up the horses, and he'll kind of snap to Marcus and the other ghouls, and as he makes his way over there to start tacking up horses again.